square. Mr. Tosti.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I'd like to also introduce Arlington resident Alex Patterson, if you'd be so kind.
You have to introduce your substitute and get it seconded.
Okay, so, yep, Stephen Harrington, Precinct 13. I have a substitute motion to Article 58. I left it on everyone's seats. Geez, it seems like weeks ago. And I asked that you voted that the sum of $25,000 be hereby appropriated to purchase up to 70 sets of football helmets and shoulder pads, and to collect impact data. Said sum to be raised by the general taxes and expended under the direction of the town manager. Can I have a second, please? Second. Do you need a copy, Mr. Moderator?
I do, sir.
Could you?
Nope.
I reset already. I reset it once. I noticed it done. I don't agree.
Mr. Moderator, I'd like to recognize Arlington resident Alex Patterson.
Mr. Patterson, come forth.
Okay, Mr. Good, could you put up on the screen?
25,000, yeah.
So I'm here tonight to talk to you about a high school, for the Arlington High School, a concussion reduction program. Oh, too fast. So concussions are a public health issue. Traumatic brain injury in our youth is a serious and growing public health issue. The Centers for Disease Control call TBI the silent epidemic. Concussion awareness is at the forefront of public health initiatives with new laws, reporting requirements, and media attention. Oh, too fast. What I have up before you are a couple charts that show TBIs in youth sports and activities. The first one on the left shows TBIs reported by activity, so how many? And you'll see that the most is actually falling off a bicycle. The second most is football, third is playground, fourth is basketball. I just show that to you to show you that actually concussions happen in every sport. If you go down the list, it's actually, there's more concussions, just sheer number, in swimming than there are in all forms of hockey combined. Field hockey, ice hockey, street hockey. And that's because, well, more people swim. On the other side, I show you the rate of reported TBIs per 100,000 exposures. An exposure is either a practice or a game. And what you'll see, which I think everyone sort of knows, is that football has the highest rate of traumatic brain injury. The second highest, though, is a big surprise. It's girls soccer. And this is for high school sports. And girls soccer has 75% of the rate of concussions that boys football does. Then you have followed by boys soccer and girls basketball and wrestling. I'm going to show you, so I've been involved with high school athletics and fees and things for the last few years. And in November, a very concerned parent, the director of Pop Warner, came to me. His son had suffered a severe concussion. And he was concerned with the number of concussions in high school football. And this report was from the trainer. Now, the reporting requirements are that the athletic trainer and coaches identify any suspected concussion and remove the child from play immediately. That's so that there's not this nonsense of putting a child in who's been injured because, well, it hasn't been confirmed. And what you'll see here is that there's 15 concussions. It's by grade. You see that 5 freshmen had concussion, 4 sophomores, 2 juniors, 4 seniors. And of the 5 freshmen, they're all wearing old helmets. And I don't just represent Precinct 13 tonight. I also represent 160 people who signed this warrant article. Many of them were concerned with the amount of concussions that were occurring in high school football and at Arlington High School. And not only that, they wanted me to get up here and speak to you all because I see you're in a generous mood tonight and gave out $25,000 just recently for designs of signs. I'm hoping that you see that what this warrant article is really doing is trying to protect the youth of Arlington. Okay, and so if you look, 5 out of 22 of the freshmen had head injuries. That's 23%. So on the next slide, I made a request of the school department to give me the inventory of football helmets. Now, all football helmets are certified for safety. It's supposed to be every 2 years at least, and I think they do it every 1 year recently. And the safety that they do, it's actually on the polycarbonate shell to make sure that it's designed to reduce skull fractures and not a lot to do about concussions. And in March of last year, they issued a statement saying that as of September 1st, no helmets will be certified safe that are over 10 years old. And it's hard to see this report, so what I did is I combined it into a graphic. And on this graphic, what you see is the age of the helmets in this inventory and the number of helmets. Now, this isn't all the helmets that out in high school, but it's 70 helmets that were in use, or roughly 70 helmets. And you can see all the way to the right, those would be the helmets that are 2 years old, and all the way to the left is, we had a helmet that was 17 years old. We had 2 helmets that were 15 years old. We had a number of helmets that were 14 years old. Matter of fact, we had about 36 helmets that are more than 10 years old that don't meet the minimum safety requirement designed for skull fractures. What I'm asking, the school department recognizes they have to do this, so they're going to have a plan. You saw their plan to replace 36 helmets. Our proposal is to go a little bit further. They want to replace 36 now and over 3 years have no helmet older than 5 years old. I want to do that now. I wanted to bring up the warranty all the way up to where the warranty expires. And the reason that's important is because, see, the shell doesn't really protect you against concussions. You can put a big block of wood in your head, it's not going to stop it from having a concussion. It's the padding and the liner inside. And upon impact, that liner and padding deforms, and after several deformations, it loses its effectiveness. And so the manufacturer only warranties it for 5 years. And so what our proposal does, in plain words, is bring up a best practice so that we replace all the helmets that are more than 5 years old. But we go a little bit further than that, too, because, see, it's not just the helmet. You want to change the play. And we want to change the play in 2 ways. You want to teach the kids not to hit with your head, so we want to get all new shoulder pads for them so that they feel comfortable hitting with their shoulders. And so that's only part one, but sort of the equipment's a no-brainer. The other part that's very important is actually what Mr. Patterson's going to speak about, and it's actually an impact study for instant feedback on the field. Mr. Patterson? Which one?
This one's fine. So hi, my name is Alex Patterson, resident of Arlington for about 10 years here.
What street? Name the street
24 Clark Street.
Thank you.
So I'm going to try and get this over really quick. I have a startup company, and I'm focusing on teaching players how to play safe. They need 2 forms of feedback. You need feedback on the field in practices, and you need feedback over the long term. So what I've developed is a small device that has a stoplight. So you'll see green, yellow, red. Now, if you imagine this mounted on the back of the player's head in practice, the coach and the players get instant visual feedback, so they know when they're using their head too much. Pardon me. And then there's a longer term. It's a data recorder. It's a flight data recorder. And you can download the data for review after practices, after games. And that drives home the point of how many cumulative impacts these players are incurring. Again, the whole principle here is practice safe, play safe. Our athletes really need to know how hard they're using their head in these plays and in the practices. And right now, they have no empirical data that gives this to them. And that's what I'm looking to do here. Propose. Steve contacted me about this. We're looking at a pilot study. For me, this would help get my company off the ground. For Arlington, this would actually offer an opportunity to probably take the leading edge as a school system, as a town, in concussion prevention. Okay.
So let me wrap this up very quickly, since I'm running out of time. Our proposal is to recognize, first of all, that concussions are a public health issue. This isn't just an issue for the schools. I want to replace all the football helmets and pads now. I want best practices versus minimum standards of safety. I want $20,000 for 70 sets of helmets and pads. I'm looking for an impact data study so that we can provide feedback for coaches and trainers and change the way play is done during practice. We've talked to the MIAA about a waiver so that we can put this device on the back of the helmet. It's $5,000 for 70 units, plus Alex is going to offer his time. And then I'm just going to try to quickly ask a couple questions. Ms. Martin, can I ask for 2 more minutes, please, sir?
Nope, you have to
Can
do
I
that
ask the,
before your presentation.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, if you want extra time, you have to do it before you get up. Well, as soon as you get up.